chromatic scale workout number 18. So I was thinking, and I do that from time to time, I was thinking that what about Barry's guidelines with other scales that aren't the major scale? For mixed Lydian, it's going to be. So what about if we're playing Lydian dominant, right? In this case, what would that be? That'd be G melodic minor, right? In the same position if we play it, the scale's like this. Now, there's only half steps and whole steps in this scale too, so technically that should work, right? So I wanted to test out my theory. Now remember, the beauty of Barry's system is that when we use his guidelines, we put the chromatic notes on the upbeats, right? And some of the scale tones will be on the upbeats, but most of them will be on the downbeats, okay? But there shouldn't be any chromatic notes on the downbeats. So that's why we hear the scale perfectly, even with all the chromaticism in it. It's because those chromatic notes are on the upbeat. Somehow our brain doesn't register as hard because they're on the upbeats. We can hear them and we like them, but since most of the scale tones are going to be on the downbeat, we hear the scale as it is, okay? So I wanted to see if that'll work with the Lydian dominant. So again, here's the scale. So before you even get into it, if you're not used to the scale, I'm going to suggest that you just play the scale a lot. So this lesson's going to be a little shorter than usual, but that's okay because there's a lot more work involved because you need to remember all your patterns for the C Lydian dominant scale before you can put the chromaticism in it, right? So let's just jam over that and see what we get, see if we like the sound of it, okay? First things first, so make sure you're comfortable with these scales and make sure that you can improvise with them and they feel natural and they sound natural, right? If they sound natural, you'll play naturally, okay? So when you're done with that, come back and go on to the next thing where we start to put the chromatic notes in it. So what happens when we put the chromatic notes in as per Barry's guidelines, right? So look, whole step. Chromatic in between. Now the half step's going to be here. Ascending. So when I play it, I can hear Lydian dominant even with those chromatic notes, okay? So let's just practice the scale with the chromatic passing tones in it, as by the rules, like no goofing around here, no messing around and making up licks and stuff. Just play the scales per his guidelines. That's the first step, okay? So let's try that together. the sound. Now, how did it sound to you? I mean, that's the important thing. To me, it sounds like Lydian dominant, even though it's got all the chromatic notes, which is interesting, right? Because I'm playing all 12 chromatic scale notes, but the way that they're placed allows us to hear that Lydian dominant scale, okay? So anyways, this is what your homework is for the week, okay? So practice those scales using the chromaticism. Now in the next lesson, I'm going to show you once again how we can mess around with this and come up with some great licks, okay? So get to it, and I'll see you in the next one.